gaze around, it's the only place for me because I know Nipapanha in the Flinders, I'll always call my home. It's on a rocky hill by a creek with tall gum trees. In the summer it's hot and dusty. Good morning and welcome to the 25th year celebrations of the Nantawarrina IPA. Before we commence with our welcome to country, I'd like to thank the Nipapanha community and our organising committee of Ian Johnson, Desiree Fielding, Greg Crammond and especially John Chester. In addition, the considerable financial support from the Australian Government through the National Indigenous Australians Agency, South Australian Arid Lands Landscape Board and the Landcare Association of South Australia is much thanked. I would like to invite Kelvin Johnson and Noel Wilton to come forward and welcome us to country.
Nanga, ajam mat yura, and napala businesses, I suppose. Wonder yana no napala yeta, nakon, nanga mutabel, nanga will, nanga mutabel. And yeta yil nakabel yeta. Utang apple. Wonder. Welcome.
I don't know how I'm going to go, but I've got the shake now with all these people looking at me. So let's give it a go. Inamat na unyu Yananga na idni yatangoni Yurika madjana wuri Ajamat na wuri unda kapula Au ivela pangana Uchamat ni tilangadi wela nanga Yurika madjana wuri Ajamat na wuri unda kapula Ajamat na wuri unda kapula. Thank you.
Well done.
Thanks, mate.
Thank you very much, Uncle Kelvin and Uncle Noel. And now it's our privilege to have Ian Johnson, Senior, Chair of the Nipapanha Community Aboriginal Corporation, welcome you.
I'd like to welcome everybody, the Nipapanha community and all your government departments, Jerry and John for everything they've actually done for us. This Wunyadi is going to crack me with some word that she put in. So, the Indigenous Protected Area, the first one in Australia, the first one in the world. It was special. It was a special thing for us to go out and have yapus. Along with many people from around Australia who has sort of been a part of it as well. Go down there. I'd like to say thanks to our next door neighbours. There's a lot of words I'm missing out, but I'm going to have to go straight to them. Anjipina, the nickel crew, who has been very supportive for Nipapanha in the first Indigenous Protected Area when the first opened up. They were with us from the first one, and they're still with us today in the 25. So thank Tony and Lel. Landscape, they have done a lot for us. Aboriginal Land Trust, can't miss them out, I suppose, but without them, we wouldn't have had Nantawarrina, National Parks. We'd like to say thanks to them for having their input as well. To all the government agencies, which you're going to have to talk to a bit more a bit later on. Thank you all for being here today and enjoy the rest of the day. I'm going to have to hand it back to Jerry.
Hello, welcome everybody for coming today. I'd like to acknowledge the past and present. The past was when, Granny Gertie, she done a lot of stuff here. She was our main person, and then we had other people that passed away too that were here to celebrate our 20 years celebration, and they're not here today. So I think it's very important to acknowledge them and acknowledge our present, like our kids. Without our kids, we won't have this. Without we won't have a future for them. So I think we should just think about that too. Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Janice.
Thanks.
Susan. So I'd like to now invite our Deputy Premier and the Minister for Climate, Environment and Water, Honourable Susan Close, and the Member for Port Adelaide, and thank her for making this special trip up to us here in Nantawarrina.
Thank you. And I've got to say it's a very friendly welcome, and not just from the flies, although they are especially friendly to us all today, I think. And I want to thank people for the welcome to country, the Andamantna people of the Nipapanha community. Thank you for welcoming us here today and for allowing us to be here in this incredibly special place. Ian, thank you for your speech of leadership, and Auntie Denise, it was very important that we heard from you as well, not only about the people who've passed, but also a bit of the women's story, which is important that we hear both always. I know that there have been so many people over the last 25 years who have some involvement in the success of Nantawarrina. People who are Aboriginal and people who are not Aboriginal have been involved in this. Organisations that are Aboriginal led and organisations that are not Aboriginal led have all been involved in this. But you know, the only part of this that is utterly essential, that this could not happen without, is the Nipapanha community. If the Nipapanha community hadn't decided to trust that this was something that could work for them and engage and be open and welcoming, none of this would be possible. So the fullest credit and the fullest gratitude must go to the elders of Nipapanha, and particularly those who had the courage all those years ago to say, yes, we will try this thing, because ideas come and go from outside of community. There are many genius ideas when they're being dreamt up that don't turn out so well when they're put in practice. But if you work with community, if you listen to community, if you engage with community and allow yourself to be led by community, you're probably going to get it right. And one thing I know that my culture needs to learn, the non-Aboriginal culture needs to learn, is how to respect and live within country, and how to listen to the people who know country best. And that is what I love about the Indigenous Protected Area program. Yes, it brings some resources. Yes, it brings a bit of concentration on different ways of doing things, but it is that respect and love for this place, without which we cannot survive, but which my culture struggles to understand. That is what we have to learn from Aboriginal people. It's why I'm grateful that I was born on Ghana Yurta. It's why I'm grateful I live in a country that has an Aboriginal heart, and it's why I want to make sure that we keep listening every day to the wisdom of Aboriginal people. So thank you to everyone who's been involved in this, but thank you particularly to the Nipapanha community. You are leaders, every one of you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Deputy Premier. So we'd like also now to invite our Minister for Local Government and the Member for Stewart, the Honourable Jeff Brock, who's travelled up here, and we really appreciate him making this special effort also.
Thanks very much, everybody. And I'd also like to thank Uncle Kelvin and Uncle Noel for the welcome to country, and to Uncle Noel for your guitar playing and your song. I'm going to put you into Australia's Got Talent, because that was absolutely brilliant. And as the Deputy Premier has indicated, we learned from Indigenous people, Aboriginal people across all of South Australia, and that was really, really heartwarming. And to Auntie Denise, your very, very kind words regarding the leadership and the women involved, but also about the youth, not only past, but also the future youth. As part of our journey from here on in is going to be working together. And I'm very, very fortunate. I lost my wife many years ago. I've got 2 children. My partner and I have got 5 children between us, but we have 14 grandchildren. So I'm very, very passionate about family, very passionate about the future generations. And as the Deputy Premier has indicated, my friend Susan Close, it's about how can we, the non-Indigenous people, learn and understand from the Indigenous communities across all of South Australia. It's very important. I now have a new electorate, and I pay tribute to my previous member of Stewart, Dan Van Holst Pelican. The last election, the boundaries changed dramatically, and now I'm the independent member for this area here. And when the boundaries changed, and I put in for the new election in the last state election, I said to my partner, I won't win, but however, when I did win, I said that I feel as if I'm going home. And I lived at Port Augusta for 7 years, then went back to Piri. I've been there for the last 40 odd years. I used to travel this way for BP Australia back 50 years ago. And the memories of when I'm coming back up here, I'm coming home. It is, whilst I'm coming up on the journey yesterday, I feel as if I am coming home. This is an area that I love up here. Nipapanha, I used to travel that way as a area manager for BP Australia and also a minister for 2014-18, but it's about working together. Susan Close is a very, very passionate person about Indigenous communities and population. But to the IPA, this is the first one in Australia, to celebrate 25 years is an absolutely milestone to do that. And as Susan has indicated, and I was talking to some people, some rangers this morning that were here the whole 25 years, if we don't, when we start something, if we don't have our communities behind us, that means all communities, it's not going to work. And this has been a great success. And coming up here this morning from Nipapanha, I found out, I just, mind-boggling, the scenery, the changes and things like that. And I pay a tribute to the Indigenous Rangers in particular, what they've done across all of the area here, the IPA, but also to the surrounding communities, because if you weren't working together, then in actual fact this would not have worked. But I feel very, very privileged to be here today, along with my friend Susan Close, the Deputy Premier. We are here to celebrate, and I feel very, very lucky to be able to come up here today. And most people know that I've just had 3 heart attacks and 4 bypasses, but I made the trip. I'm going to take another 2 weeks off because I went back to work too early. But one of the things I couldn't do was miss the opportunity to be here for the 25th anniversary of the establishment of Australia's and the world's first IPA. So congratulations to everybody. Congratulations to all the government agencies and also the federal government, but also very, very in particular is also the Landscape Board and other people involved with this. But very, very importantly, you people are the community. You people are the heart of what's happened, and you people are the ones who are going to make certain that this works. So congratulations, everybody. But before I do, I'm just going to also acknowledge Uncle Kelvin Johnson. I don't want to say this, but in the 17th of this month, he turns 70. So remember to wish him happy birthday on the 17th. Congratulations, everybody. Thank you. All right.
This IPA started as ideas back in the 80s and 90s, and John Chester reached out to the first person who convinced the Australian government to support this IPA, and we were very pleased to get a speech written by Dr. Dermot Smythe, and the rangers, particularly Sunny and Kimberly, are going to read Dermot's speech, backed up by her rangers, who are going to come over and be behind her. Thank you.
I wish to pay my respects to the Adyamatna people and all the other traditional owners, guests gathered at Nantawarrina to celebrate the 25th anniversary of Nantawarrina Indigenous Protected Area. You, the Adyamatna people, had the courage and foresight back in 1998 to declare your country to be Australia's very own first IPA. Back then, an IPA was an idea that had never been tested anywhere in the world. It was an idea that had been developed by traditional owners from all over Australia at workshops and advised committees in 1995 and 96. The IPA was a simple one, but revolutionary before 1998. Australia government had monopoly on creating protected areas such as national parks, other conservation reserves, and only government could employ rangers to look after the culture and natural values of those areas. In 1998, the Adyamatna people broke the government monopoly and paved the way for the First Nations people across Australia to voluntarily dedicate their country as IPA. In exchange for government support for caring for the country by the rangers who belong to the country and who are employed by local traditional owner organisations. The success of IPA over the 25 years in rehabilitating degraded land, nurturing and cultural opportunities has inspired the dedication of a current total of 82 IPAs across Australia, including on the islands of Torres Strait. IPAs now make up a total land area of more than 87 million hectares, which amounts of 50% of Australia's nation reserve system. Oh, these flies. Having taken part in those initial workshops back in the 1990s and written the consultancy report that led to the IPA programs, it is such a privilege and joy for me to witness the growth of IPAs over the 25 years. I am also very pleased that IPAs have been established on sea country as well as on land, including some multi-tenure IPAs that incorporate national parks, marine parks and other government protected areas. IPAs have demonstrated what can be achieved when government listed to the support traditional owners. I'm getting shaky now. Achieve their priorities for country and culture. And IPAs have demonstrated that when this happens, the whole of Australia benefits. IPAs and the Rangers program that support them are an incredible success story. The first chapter of that story was written right here in Nipapanha in 1998. Visionary Adyamatna traditional owners of the time and continued by their descendants who put that vision into practice over the 25 years. I want to conclude the acknowledging and thanking everyone who has worked together year in and year out to make the IPA dream a reality. The elders, rangers, IPA, managers, partners and support in government and elsewhere. I am confident that the IPAs will continue to prosper over the 25 years and beyond. Thank yous.
Well done, Cindy. Well done, Sunny.
Thanks.
Thank you very much, Sunny, and the Rangers for relating Dermot's kind words to all and sundry here. So I'd just like to ask Mark Anderson, who's the Central Division Manager, to speak on behalf of Joe Morrison, the CEO of the Indigenous Land and Sea Corporation.
Good morning, everybody, and thank you for the opportunity to be here today and represent the Indigenous Land and Sea Corporation on behalf of my CEO. He gives his apologies, as does our Chair, Ian Ham, who are unable to make it today. I would like to acknowledge traditional owners past, present and future, and particularly those traditional owners for the land we're meeting on today. It's such a spectacular place, and this is my first opportunity to have travelled through and to see the magnificence of the Flinders Ranges. So yeah, just wonderful, thank you. And also for the wonderful welcome that I got from Ian last night when I met him. And when we were introduced, he had a very big smile on his face when he said, Indigenous Land and Sea Corporation, we need to have a conversation. So watch this space. I'd also like to thank Uncle Kevin and Uncle Noel for their welcome to country. That was wonderful and very heartfelt. And also acknowledge the other distinguished guests, Deputy Premier and local member Jeff. But probably most importantly is the community members here who are representing the traditional landowners. So congratulations for everybody being here. And it's really wonderful to see the multiple generations from young people all the way through to the elders, because that's where the future of this is going to be. I guess the important thing is that actions speak louder than words. And when you see that this was the first IPA created 25 years ago, and it was building on the aspiration of the traditional landowners and the custodians to take control of their land and better manage it, and managing it in a way that is in accordance with their customs, traditions and cultural practices. The ILSC has had a partnership with the Nipapanha Aboriginal Corporation and the IPA that goes over the entire period, and through small assistance packages we've funded an excavator, tractor, vehicles and also a native food development plan. In conversation with Ian and others, there is an opportunity for an expansion to increase this land holding through the acquisition of a piece of land that abuts this property. The ILSC's purpose and why we were set up was to assist traditional owners, countrymen and women, to reacquire land that had been taken from them and transition that back into traditional ownership. So while I'm not able to announce the acquisition today, I do give an undertaking to work with my Commonwealth state colleagues to pursue the opportunity of transitioning this extra piece of land back into the Indigenous estate, which will help fill in another piece of this puzzle. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much there, Mark. And our last speaker before our concluding remarks will be Alison McMorrow, who's the branch head on behalf of the National Indigenous Australians Agency and the Department of Climate Change, Energy, Environment and Water.
Good morning, everybody. Hopefully you can hear me. So thank you for the warm welcome. My name is Alison McMorrow. I'm with the Environment Department in the Australian Government, and I have a couple from one from my teams, our lead track, and a couple from the National Indigenous Australians Agency here on country today. I would like to acknowledge the Adna Mutna, I hope I got that pronunciation right, people, and pay my respects to your elders, past and present. Thank you so much for welcoming us onto your country today and for inviting us to help you celebrate this significant event. Excuse me with my hair. Australia's Minister for the Environment and Water, Tanya Plibersek, and the Minister for Indigenous Australians, Linda Burney, both really wanted to be here. They send their apologies and they've asked me to pass on the following words. So for Minister Plibersek, 25 years ago, here in the Flinders Ranges, the Adnyamatna people established Australia's first ever Indigenous Protected Area. It was the start of a movement which has spread across this continent like a brilliant, unstoppable flame. The first IPA began with a simple idea that if we listened to First Nations people, if we valued First Nations expertise, and if we empowered First Nations communities on the ground, we could protect Australia's environment while also supporting local jobs and economic development and local communities. As the Minister for the Environment and Water, she's committed to expanding this great program across even more of our land. We are currently adding 10 new protected areas, Indigenous protected areas, while also doubling the number of Indigenous rangers by the end of the decade. This is a proud, homegrown success story, and it began right here in Nipapanha. You were the spark that lit the fire. And it will continue to light the fire and the way forward here on Adnyamathanha land for the next 25 years and more. And now some words from Minister Burney. Again, this is a proud, homegrown success story. You showed us what we could do in this country when we embraced 65,000 years of history and knowledge from Indigenous Australians. I congratulate the traditional owners from the Nipapanha community who 25 years ago became the first Indigenous people to dedicate their country as an IPA. I also like to say thank you to the Indigenous rangers who are using their knowledge and skills to protect Adnyamathanha lands and for leading the way for others to follow. So I'd just like to finish with some words from me after speaking for two ministers who are so passionate about this program. Again, congratulations on your wonderful achievement. As we drove here this morning and again yesterday, reading through your booklet, I can see why the IPA is so important to your community. The landscape is absolutely stunning. These limestone hills and the gorges and the waterfalls that I'm really looking forward to being able to explore today really do help shelter those iconic animals, the undu, the yellow-footed rook wallaby, and I'm humbled to know that the country around me contains so many important cultural sites and that you are here protecting them. I look forward to being able to experience country with you today and to share in more of these stories throughout the day. I understand that before its dedication as an IPA, Nantawarrina was a pastoral property, and for the past 25 years, the IPA has brought a sense of purpose and cultural reconnection, and that looking after country has become everybody's business. It's fantastic to see the Nantawarrina Rangers here today. I've heard a lot about your work, including how you teach and share your knowledge of this beautiful country with your own community, but also with many others, including tourists to the area. Finally, I would like to commend the success of Nantawarrina through its recognition within South Australia, across Australia, and even internationally as a model of first-class Indigenous land management. The IPA has been a base through which long-lasting partnerships between rangers, elders, local communities and other organisations have developed. The sharing of knowledge and listening to the new and old ways of managing country has contributed to the Nantawarrina success story and also to the success of the IPA program. So again, congratulations to absolutely everybody who is involved in this incredible milestone. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Alison, and thank you for giving those words from our two ministers, Minister Plibersek and Minister Burney. In addition, we did have apologies from the federal member, Rowan Ramsey, and we also had many other apologies from around Australia and too long to list, but we thank them for their thoughts and their actions in supporting this IPA. So we're just going to finish off with some concluding remarks and the opportunity for us to dedicate the 25th plaque, which we have in a frame here. So I'd just like to ask John Chester and Phil Wright and Ian Johnson to come up, please.
Yeah, look, thanks very much for that. I'm armless at the present time. So, look, the biggest thing is international recognition too was that Nipapanha was asked to go and present at the CSD8 in New York. They didn't want to go and they threw me on a plane. I've got a hard job to fly from Adelaide to Port Lincoln, let alone in a jumbo jet. But nonetheless, that was with Senator Robert Hill, and yeah, that was that was with Senator Robert Hill, and but this was part of the process of the United Nations ended up coming down here to Adelaide, and Senator Robert Hill and the ambassador for the United Nations, UN. What is it? No, it was the yeah. So the ambassador came down, and John Howard presented Aunty Gertie and Ian Johnson and Kelvin a plaque, an award for Environmental Achievement Award. The other one was again that nobody wanted to fly, so 3 or 4 weeks later, Nipapanha was asked to come to the South Africa to the South African Durban Congress Parks Congress. So we presented another paper there in South Africa, and that was well received. I think that's about it really. But so there's more to Nipapanha that meets the eye here, and they've gone through a lot of previous adversity, and those two Anjapina people there really helped us.
Thanks. Phil, would you like to say a few? Yeah. So Phil Wright was the first general manager of the IPA. I think that was probably the title, but you can explain it yourself.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Minister and Deputy Premier, for being here. It's very, very good to see senior management for the government here. Not speaking sadly of the underlings, but it's very nice. When I came here in '98, I was supposed to be the Municipal Services Officer, and that was just the job looking after the town admin. Ungi, this fella here, hey, see, he doesn't like he's shy. He told me that they had 500 square kilometres out here they look after, and I said, oh, holy, you know, I don't know about that, but anyhow, we managed, and I can say it's the best thing that these people did. And I've got to acknowledge the work from these. They were wee eyes when I first got here, weren't you? Yes. And we got into the goats, and that was the first major job, to get rid of the goats, and I think we've seen a regeneration happen now. And I've grown to love these people. I'm absolutely gobsmacked to be here today. It's lovely, and I wish them well for the future. Thank you very much.
And Jason Downs from Reconciliation SA.
Thanks, Jerry. Now I know what the goats and donkeys feel like being put in the spotlight. Right. So 25 years ago, I came here to work with an amazing group of people. Now, like you, Jeff, this place is home to me. It's home to my family. A very special group of people. You've heard all the accolades. The IPA program itself is a testament to some incredible leaders. Most who are still with us, some who have passed, unfortunately. But 25 years, I just reflected, that's about 7 Prime Ministers, that's about 4 Premiers, and a lot of ministers and a lot of government employees over a lot of time. But the one constant for this program has been the people. They've done a remarkable job. Thank you.
Now we've got another special guest here who's just arrived, Terry Coulthard. He'd like to say a few words before we dedicate the plaque.
Everybody, particularly here and in the Nipapanha community, as you know, in the last few months, the Igawata community have been struggling with the loss to 2 brothers passing. So I was probably just struggling a bit to get out of bed each day, you know, to cope with life in general. But you know, my apologies for turning up a bit late today here and to everyone in the community. It's fantastic to see this happening. I just hope that we can grow the IPA make it bigger and better and include other properties as part of the IPA into the future. So again, well done, Ian, and everybody that's been part of this project. I'm speaking on behalf of the Igawata community. Big congratulations. Thank you.
Thanks,
Do you want to hold this,
Terry.
Jason?
Welcome,
Thanks, just hold it.
Vincent. Sorry about being a bit late. That's okay. Okay, and I hope you enjoy yourself here today. Now we need these guys up. Can I get the rangers back up here? And I'd like to say thanks to everybody for being here today. So that the plaque will be left in the Nipapanha Community Office for visitors to have a look. And thanks to the rangers for doing everything there. I'm looking at this way. So thanks to the rangers and everybody else that turned up today. So enjoy yourself for the rest of the day.
I'm not crashing the party, I'm just enjoying the party, okay? So you guys, if you can help me, you know what, Nipapanha is our home. You know, we all grew up at Nipapanha and spent a lot of our childhood there. And this Nantawarrina is an extension of and it's because of the Nipapanha community's efforts. So you guys, those of you who know Nipapanha the Flinders, let's sing it together, eh? Let's just do it. I need you to help me anyway because I'm a bit nervous here. There's a place eastward of Copley where the Urus settled down after leaving from Rampaddock years ago. You can see the hills and valleys as you slowly gaze around. It's the only place for me because I know Nipapanha in the Flinders, I'll always call my home. It's on a rocky hill by a creek with tall gum trees. In the summer it's hot and dusty, but when the sun goes down, the night is cool with a gentle southern breeze. Sometimes I used to go down to the water roll, where the cool water would ripple on the sand. In the afternoon I'd go ride on my old donkey. To me this is Sajna Mother's land. Nipapanha in the Flinders, I'll always call my home. It's on a rocky hill by a creek with tall gum trees. In the summer it's hot and dusty, but when the sun goes down, the night is cool with a gentle southern breeze. I recall an old man singing a Urus tribal song while carving boomerang from a mulga tree. The warmness from his campfire would keep me from the cold while he shared his ancient stories with me. Nipapanha in the Flinders, I'll always call my home. It's on a rocky hill by a creek with tall gum trees. In the summer it's hot and dusty, but when the sun goes down, the night is cool with a gentle southern breeze. The night is cool with a gentle southern breeze. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks very much.
Ajamat na udi wanda kapula. Ajamat na udi wanda kapula.